we're all set to start?
I'll do that.
Okay? Okay? Yes. I call this meeting of the Londonderry Administrative Unit Number 12 School Board and the Londonderry School District School Board to order. First order of business, the Pledge of Allegiance. Marty, can you lead us in that, please?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If you could all remain standing for one moment, we'd like a moment of silence for the tragedy at Virginia Tech yesterday. Thank you.
First order of business is Sue Ballard with the Leo Awards. And Sue, I promised Mr. Clark I would say that he has another meeting this evening, and he apologizes for not being here for this.
Because these are the exciting Leo Awards.
And that's
this
what he
is
said.
The 6th annual presentation of awards for excellence in work for Londonderry Educational Outreach, which includes Channel 21, the Insider Press, WLLOLP, and Londonderry Online, our presence on the World Wide Web. So we would like to ask our school board members have got an opportunity to present awards, and but I'm going to kind of introduce to you our recipients this evening. And we're going to begin with outstanding teacher contribution to Channel 21. And I think it's fitting to give our first award this evening to Mr. Bob McClellan, a 7th grade social studies teacher at Londonderry Middle School, and I'm sure Mr. Mack's name is familiar to all of you. Students think he's terrific, and he's also the Political Action Club advisor at the middle school. One of the best programs we had on Leo 21 in the last year was a day with then Congressman Jeb Bradley, who visited the middle school. Mr. McClellan arranged for that visit, and Leo 21 arranged to be on site with the congressman. And I think the congressman was most impressed by the quality of questions that the students asked. They were very well prepared by Mr. McClellan. I think the Washington Press Corps could not have done any better than some of the terrific questions that the students posed to the congressman about safety, about the environment, about their world in general. And in addition, this year, a parade of presidential hopeful candidates are making their way to Mr. McClellan's classroom, and we're archiving that footage so as not to promote any one agenda over the other, but hopefully sometime next year or so, we'll put all that material together and have a real showcase of what the New Hampshire presidential primary is all about and the opportunity it provides. So Mr. McClellan is here this evening. And Mr. Beaver. Mr. Parker is going to present this award.
She's just going to hand it to you, hand it to him.
It wasn't my fault that Bradley lost. Or that Vilsack dropped out of the race. You know, I'm trying my best.
Our next recipient could not be here this evening, but she did send some remarks, and she says, this is Jane Phipps, 2nd grade teacher, South Londonderry Elementary School. I am thrilled that my simple attempts have not gone unnoticed. If you've ever seen my productions, you certainly know I am not Hollywood bound. And we're glad. We wanted to stay Londonderry bound. However, I do continue to have our little 2nd grade shows taped because the children and their parents are absolutely thrilled to see them on Leo. I've had requests from parents to borrow the DVDs because they want grandma to see it in Massachusetts. When we did our Arctic show in March, I had one of the 5th grade students do the taping under the Media Center's watchful eye, and that was great for the students' self-esteem as well. Leo is a great opportunity for the whole community. We're working on a dinosaur presentation right now. Stay tuned. So to accept the award on Jane's behalf is Londonderry South School Principal Linda Kettenring and Ms. Slozak will present. ask Mr. Alfonte to please come up.
Jim went on an emergency though.
He's out of luck then. And Steve Young will come down here. Our next recipient could not be here, and this is a Leo Advisory Board Award that's being presented to the Londonderry School District Music Program. Some of the best programming we produce for Leo are concerts and events such as the high school band visiting the Monarchs on Ice, and we get lots of requests from parents to repeat the programming. And this evening, I believe it's Matthew Thornton School, is in concert at Londonderry Middle School, which is why Andy Susi, the music director, is not able to be here, but he specifically asked that Mrs. Slozak, as a former president of Friends of Music, accept this on behalf of the Londonderry School District Music Program, truly our ambassadors to the world. So, Londonderry's music.
Andy called me later earlier today. He told me we were going to sing us a song.
If Mrs. Ballard will lead us with the words.
Next time.
Tune into part 2. Thank you very much on behalf of the Friends of Music and the Londonderry Music Department. I accept this one now.
Thank you. We also have a special advisory board recognition award, and again, unfortunately, our recipient couldn't be here this evening because, regrettably, she is in the process of relocating with her husband to the Minneapolis-St. Paul area. But the recipient is a very talented young woman by the name of Amber Ward, who is a town employee and is Director of Communications and Training for the Londonderry Access Center. And Amber has done such wonderful things for Leo as include us in a terrific brochure that was designed to promote the Londonderry Access Center. The slides, the graphics you see as we open every school board meeting were designed by Amber. And perhaps most significantly, she's really made a mark that's going to be with us for a long time because she designed the artwork for the annual graduation videotape. The Lancer was redesigned for us by Amber so that it would fit the aspect ratio of television. So Amber's unable to be here. Mr. Beaver has her presentation, and I'm going to accept it. Now, our remaining recipients are all here. And it's my pleasure this evening to announce that we're going to do annual awards in this category, but these are our very first recipient ever of Outstanding Teacher Web Pages. Londonderry's website, we have every teacher has a presence, but some teachers have really gone to the nth degree to make their web pages meaningful and helpful to parents. So we had nominations, and our advisory board members kind of surfed the web and looked for the best among them. And we have a lot of really terrific teacher web pages, but we decided we'd have 3 recipients, one for our kindergarten through grade 6 teachers, grade 5, excuse me, then middle school and high school. So our first recipient this evening is Kim Patterson, who is a LEAP teacher, Londonderry Early Ed program at Moose Hill School, and she's here this evening, and let me just tell you, yay! Anything you want to know about the Tadpole team can be found on Kim's web. Our next recipient is a math teacher, 7th grade math teacher at Londonderry Middle School, and I have to say, I'm really kind of thrilled about this one because this particular teacher, Bill McCarthy, is a student in the Riviere On-Site Master's Program here in Londonderry. He's currently a student in the class that I have the pleasure of co-teaching with Kathy LaSalle. And one of the assignments for the class was see if you can kick your web pages up a notch, and he really did. It's a terrific web page. I have math anxiety, and I have looked at the PowerPoints he has mounted there on integers and orders of operations, and I just wish I'd had him when I was in the 7th grade, because I really get some of that stuff now. So if you're struggling with math, please visit his webpage. And to present Bill with his award is Mr. George Herman, so come on up, Bill. Well, visit webpage, it's great. Good job. And finally, as our high school recipient, we have Kelly Oakes, who teaches psychology, advanced placement, U.S. history at Londonderry High School, and her students are kept immediately updated with everything you wanted to know about what's happening in her classroom. It's very professionally done, it's always updated, and we're thrilled that Kelly's able to be here with us this evening to accept her Leo for Best High School Teacher webpage. Kelly's here. Okay. And finally, Mr. Campo, we have one more award. When the Leo Advisory Board looked at our teacher web pages, and there are so many terrific ones, we had to acknowledge that we have one teacher who really is world-class. Liz Juster, teacher at Londonderry High School, English teacher, was an Intel Teach to the Future teacher several years ago. And she really has looked at how to integrate technology. And if you visit the web page that is set up for Liz at Londonderry High School, there's a link to Mrs. Juster's virtual classroom, and that is just what it is. It is a learning experience of and by itself. It is participatory. Liz's students are currently participating in a project with mapping U.S. literature, and their essays on John Cheever, J.D. Salinger, and John Irving are shared with students across the country as a result of that project. So this is a real exciting environment. Please visit the virtual classroom. The real Mrs. Juster is here in person, face to face with us tonight. Clark couldn't be with us because I know he looks forward to this, but we'll be back next year with many more fine recipients. Thank you.
Nate?
Yes, Kobe and John, would you like to do the honors?
Good evening. I wanted to bring Stephanie Murphy to the board this evening for a couple of reasons. First of all, when we had the Scholar Athlete Awards, she was unable to attend because she had a basketball game that night, so we wanted to recognize her for that. But if I tried to put everything in chronological order for Stephanie, last year, at the conclusion of the basketball season, she was the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of New Hampshire. She went on to become a All-State in softball. She was an All-State in volleyball this fall. She was in the Street and Smith's preseason All-American team. The month of December, she was the Athlete of the Month for the Union Leader Corporation. She was the Varsity New England Magazine Player of the Year this year. She was on the McDonald's All-American Top 40 team. She was an Eagle Tribune Player of the Year. She was a Union Leader Player of the Year. She was a Nashua Telegraph Player of the Year. She was Miss New Hampshire Basketball. She was the Class L Player of the Year. She was the Friday Night Lights Miss Basketball this year. She's always been on the honor roll at Londonderry High School. And we've had some great tall players in our history of the school. Leslie Reed, who played for us and went to Princeton, played at Princeton. Cheryl Ames played at Cornell. We had Kelly Hunt, was an All-American, played at UConn. And, you know, John recently was mentioned that Stephanie Murphy is the best post player that he's ever seen in the state of New Hampshire. And this comes from someone who in 20 years at Nashua High School won 11 state championships and put women's basketball on the map for the state of New Hampshire. Right now we have 4 records that are held in the gym by Stephanie. Most points in a season, 515. Total points in a career, 1,769. Most rebounds in a season, 319. And total rebounds in a career, 1,248. Now, the latest award is going to be presented to Stephanie by John.
Needless to say, Steph's a pretty good player.
Told you she was tall.
Yeah. And she also has earned a full scholarship at Boston College, which plays in the ACC, which is basically one of the, if not the top conference in the country. So we're likely to see her in a few situations on television coming up. And Gatorade has made her Player of the Year again. It doesn't happen very often that you get this award twice in a career. And as great a player as Stephanie is, and will continue to be because she works so hard, she's also one of the nicest people you're going to want to ever meet. So congratulations, Stephanie. Yeah. I truly believe that she is probably the best basketball player in women's basketball to come out of the state. And as Kobe said it, because I'm old, I've seen a lot of them. And there ain't anybody any better. I mean, there may be some as good, but there's certainly anybody any better.
Thank you. Thank you. Of course, I always have something to say. But I'd like to thank the school board for inviting me here tonight to give me this award, and along with Londonderry High School for giving me the opportunity to play basketball for 4 amazing years, along with all the other things that I've accomplished over the years. And I really appreciate everything, and I hope that you all cheer me on at BC. Thank you.
Nate, do you have the next one?
Yes. Tom Sawyer couldn't be with us tonight. We'll invite him back, but Tom was recently elected to the NHIAA Coaches Hall of Fame, so we'll have Tom at another meeting. Is Bill here? I didn't.
Yes.
Yes.
Good. Okay. Bill, if you could come up, please, we appreciate it. Over the years, our school district has been blessed with outstanding teachers. We've had Teacher of the Year, English Teacher of the Year, Humanities Teacher of the Year. The list goes on and on. We are honored this year to recognize and have Bill be recognized as the New Hampshire Environmental Teacher of the Year. And we wanted to recognize Bill and say congratulations. And Bill, if you could let everybody know a little bit about the award and what you did to deserve such an honor.
Well, I'd like to, I guess, start by saying that it's really the people I've been working with for the last 25 years that have helped me become a stronger teacher, become a better educator, and put together the programs that I've been able to put together. I certainly owe it to the opportunities that my administration's been able to give me, giving me free rein to develop curriculum in what directions I felt the pulse of education was going. I've been surprised by the award and honored to be recognized by the Environmental Educators Association. I've done a lot of different things, I guess, in 25 years, but the most rewarding thing, I guess I can say, is what is finally happening to me that's making me feel that all the work that I have put into education here at Londonderry over the years has come back around. My students and simple comments that sometimes are backhanded and sometimes are forward. One comment, one email I got this year was, hey, Mr. Neat, you've got to, this is a graduating student from last year, hey, Mr. Neat, you've got to show that movie. We just saw The Incredible Truth, and it was really good. You got to show it in your classrooms. And, oh, by the way, I really learned a lot in your class. I didn't know how much I learned. So that sort of comment that's come around to me time and time again has just been overwhelming. I had one special email that has come through to me. It came from a young man who graduated 3 years ago and is about ready to graduate. I had planted a seed, and 3 years later, I saw it grow. What he chose to do was to take a senior trip to Easter Island in the Pacific because of a seed that I'd planted when he was a senior about the environmental changes that had taken place and the reasons for the decline of the Easter Island society. So I could go on. I won't. But it's truly the students that this is all about. And I can only thank administration and staff for allowing me to have an impact on a few students. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Bill, thank you very much, and congratulations. Outstanding, outstanding.
Next on the agenda, we have Steve and Nate talking about the constitutional amendment and New Hampshire Cafe. So, Steve, you want to lead off the discussion?
I can start. We have a situation that is occurring that is not unlike that we had 2 years ago, where there was a train coming down the tracks and our legislative body came to us ahead of time and warned us that it was coming. In the packet today, you'll receive, those of you in the press and those of you that are interested, I'll give you a link to get to it. You received a document that was picked up by several newspapers in the state that I wrote as an op-ed piece. I'll read the title that the union leader gave to this, since the union leader representative slipped out of the room. The title they decided we would have on this was On School Funding, We Don't Need an Amendment, We Need More Money. Now, if you take a chance and an opportunity to read what I actually wrote, you can find that at nhcafe.com. You can find it in the Eagle Tribune. You can find it in the Portsmouth paper. And the title that I gave to it was Face the Problem, Don't Change the Rules. And here's what we have. We have a governor of this state who has taken us through the court system. We've spent 2 years with delays and tactics from the Attorney General, where we've been forced to come in at the last minute of the last hour of the last day on every single situation that we've run into. And they lost. And they lost last September. And the court told them clearly they need to define an adequate education, they need to cost out an adequate education, they need to fund an adequate education, and they need to hold themselves accountable for doing it so that anyone on the street can tell that they did. And they need to do this by June 30th. This has reached the first hurdle, and it was voted on by the exact number of senators that it needed to. Those senators are listed at our site, nhcafe or nhcafe.org, and how they voted. And those senators voted in the affirmative, have moved this on to the next step. And this constitutional amendment, which Nate will go into in some detail on what it does and does not do, he's done so very eloquently. The next step is the legislative body, and legislators need to vote on this, and they need to have 60% of the entire body, not just those that decide to show up that day. 60% of them must vote in the affirmative for this to move on to the voters. And then you as the voters would get to vote on it in 2008. So there's yet quite another delay from what the court ordered on when we should be solving this problem. What's interesting has been the people that have come out in support of the constitutional amendment. The Department of Education has come out in support of it. We are not pleased with that. We think it was inappropriate of them to do so. The School Board Association has come out opposed to this amendment. Nate will have some others that he can list. NH Cafe is, of course, opposed to this amendment since we expect the state to solve the problem by the end of June. There's an organization in the state that couldn't be much further apart from us in how they feel about this, and that's the New Hampshire Advantage Political Action Committee. And they are opposed to this amendment and feel that this will just draw us into more court battles in the future. So we need everyone to talk to their representatives. If you don't know who they are, you can go to nh.gov and look them up under the government and legislature and find out where they stand on this. I believe in our community we actually finally have complete support, and 100% of our legislatures will be voting on this. But we all know what happened on House Bill 616. It lost by 2 votes, and 2 of those votes were our legislators. So make sure you talk to them. Nate?
Okay. Just want to spend a couple of minutes now just to discuss some of the reasons that we are opposed to the constitutional amendment, and these responses are based on, quote-unquote, the virtues of the amendment as issued in a press release on March 22nd. One of the points they make is that this constitutional amendment would lift up communities that need the most help. The amendment authorizes the state to target education aid to promote an equal opportunity for children to receive an adequate education. By targeting aid, what they simply mean, based on the language in this constitutional amendment, is that there would be an aggregate sum of money. Then the state would decide some school districts would get this amount, other school districts would get that amount. And based on some formula that they develop. The issue here is that based on this constitutional amendment, it then takes the court out of the situation. So the amount of money that districts would get from year to year may change depending upon who has the power in the legislature. So this is a major concern of ours. In addition, the state presently, under the Constitution, can target aid to poorer communities. It first, however, must meet its obligation to fund an adequate education for all children. Targeting under this amendment would only ensure 50% funding on average of an adequate education. That in reality is less than what school districts are receiving now, and could theoretically mean some communities get nothing and many others would receive less, and targeted communities might not receive more than they are getting presently. The Supreme Court's decision did not limit the state's flexibility. It affirmed that all children have a right to an adequate education, one that is not based on where they live, and it did not eliminate or forbid targeting. It simply said all should get the funds necessary for an adequate education, and the state could fund above that level to identified school district. Second point that they made in this press release requires the general court to define an adequate education. Under this amendment, the state must identify the specific criteria and substantive educational programs that define an adequate education. Our response was very simply this. The general court is already in the process of defining an adequate education. That has been and continues to be the general court's responsibility. This amendment does not aid in the process. It, in effect, delays resolution as directed by the courts. Press release then said, this constitutional amendment will ensure regular determination of education costs. We believe exactly the opposite will happen. All the court rulings have been very consistent. Define cost, fund, and ensure accountability. This amendment does nothing more than delay the process. The general court can and should do the above in an expeditious manner, as it has been ordered to do so in multiple Supreme Court rulings. The amendment delays the process at least 1, possibly 2 more fiscal years. But the wording of the amendment, in a sense, takes the court out of it and says the only thing the court can do is see if the process is in place. So if in year 1, the definition and the funding is X, it would not prevent in year 2 the legislature from completely changing that. So it does not ensure stability at all, not in the language that is present in this constitutional amendment. Guarantees an ongoing and significant, next item that they say is a virtue of this constitutional amendment, guarantees an ongoing and significant state financial responsibility for education, and it provides for accountability. Our response, this amendment does not change the fiscal landscape. A floor will become a ceiling. Under this amendment, maybe 50% of the cost of an adequate education, which would translate somewhere between 20 and 25% of the total cost of education, would be distributed statewide. Most recent numbers would indicate that the purported percentage to be distributed would be more accurately reflected by about 20% of the true cost. The net result, a significant number of communities would receive less. Poorer communities would receive no more or possibly less in light of the concept of a broad definition of aid, as has been reported in the papers, such as including building aid and catastrophic aid. The language in the amendment says all districts will receive some aid. Well, some aid, as had been reported in the paper, could mean building aid or catastrophic aid, which is money that we get if a student is placed out of district in a special education placement and their costs exceed 3.5 times the state average, and then we might get 80%. So it's conceivable under this amendment, the state could say to us, all right, Londonderry, you get a total of $800,000 in building aid and catastrophic aid. That's what you're getting for this year. Or we're going to take that $800,000 and we're going to subtract that from what would have been your adequacy numbers. So you can see how that would affect us. Nowhere in the language here does it say that if the state continues to reduce funding for districts, will it then relieve us of the mandates that have been imposed by the state? All the minimum standards, the state statutes, the special education laws, federal statutes. We still have to comply. But the state now, under this constitutional amendment, is saying that they're only responsible for half of adequacy, and half of adequacy is probably 20 to 25% of the true cost, and not everybody is going to get that. So in essence, the state is legislating requirements that we must comply with, and in effect, legislating a local property tax by removing dollars from school districts and communities. Maintained judicial review is another component that they say is a valuable part of this amendment. They say the amendment allows the state to target state aid, sets a floor for state funding responsibility, and maintains judicial review. Well, we have judicial review now. We've had it in the several Claremont decisions and the most recent Londonderry decision. And every time the court has come back and said, state, you are not doing what you're supposed to be doing. This amendment limits judicial review and does not ensure stability. In other words, under this constitutional amendment, the definition of adequacy can change from year to year. The amount of money that they put in it can change from year to year, which will increase the uncertainty local school districts will have as far as the amount of money that they were receiving. In closing, this is an effort, I believe, to delay an action on an issue that has been festering for the last 14 to 15 years. In reality, it decreases state responsibility for providing resources to meet ever-rising state requirements, minimum standards, technical advisories, administrative rules, and federal regulations. Provides half of a right to an adequate education for children in poorer communities and less than half of a right to an adequate education for other communities. It will result in both the long and short term a regression of services and programs for students and constitutionally abrogates the right of all children to an adequate education. It will not stop the continuous battles over which town gets what and will only accelerate those battles and promote divisiveness. It will, in effect, exacerbate property tax increases across the board, which in turn will result in increased social costs, erosion in the middle class, and a negative business climate. We believe the legislature should and must focus efforts on defining, costing, funding, and ensuring accountability of an adequate education in an expeditious manner. This amendment, we believe, is inappropriate and counterproductive, and it's not a movement towards opportunity for all students. We believe it's a regression towards mediocrity. The way the constitutional amendment is set up, there would be so much flexibility. It came to light today, a story that I got from someone that kind of fits this. It reminds us of the story of the day the farmer cut a deal with the fox. The farmer said to the fox, "If you agree to stop indiscriminately killing chickens on my farm, I will agree that at the end of the year, I will give you 10% of the chickens in the red chicken coop." Seeing that the red coop held 200 chickens, Mr. Fox agreed, thinking that he will no longer have to chase the chickens, he won't have to run from the farmer, and he will have more time to pursue other games. On the last day of the year, the farmer moved all his chickens from the red coop into the 2 adjoining green coops. Now, Mr. Fox gets no chickens. In contrast, the farmer has eliminated his fox problem for the year. This constitutional amendment kind of does the same thing. We're going to give you 10% or 25%, but when it comes time to collect the chickens, you find all the chickens are gone. So, there you go.
Okay, thank you. Any more comments, Steve?
I used to have chickens.
Okay. Okay, at this time, with the board's permission, what I would like to do is move up to this section is the request for the high school alpine ski race team by Kim Rollo. You can have a seat if you like.
Hi, Kim.
So I hopefully review the proposal that was given to you. I'm open to any questions. The purpose for going forward with the proposal, this proposal, was that many children that I came across in the middle school have been using the rec program for several years and have been enjoying that program. However, they felt that they wanted to pursue something a little bit more aggressive, and in discussion, we found that they were surprised there wasn't a high school ski team. And so I got investigating and put together this proposal for them and for future kids.
My understanding is that what you're looking for this year is as a club.
Yes,
And then next year, if the board concurs with a club, that you will work with the athletic director to come up with a warrant article to present to the voters to see if they want to fund a ski club in the budget.
absolutely. What I want to show first is that this club is going to be able to grow. Initially looking for 5 skiers to start with a maximum probably of 20 kids or athletes.
The other item is that, again, there's no cost to the district, and the only part about the coach is that would have to be approved by the school district.
Absolutely. The way that it's proposed is that Pat's Peak will provide all the coaching, so we do not need a coach from the school. They provide all the facilities. They provide all of the setup and takedown of the courses. And they also provide within that fee all the evening tickets for that whole season, which is a 5-week season. It will be up to the athlete to come up with their own transportation, and with the limited amount of students or athletes that would be participating, I'm sure that we, as parents, we can come up with a good carpooling as we've done with other sports. So I think that it's not going to ask for any facility space is from the school coaching. It's just taking that rec program and just stepping it up into the high school arena so that these kids can race for their school.
Okay. Questions from the board? Dan?
I have a couple. Throughout the, and very nice proposal, pretty definitive, but is there a limitation on the number of students that can participate? Do they try out? Do they, it seems like there's coaching available, so some are better than others, I'm sure, but is there a limitation on the number? I'm sure there's numbers that can meet and ski, but is there limitations on the number that can participate in the program?
Actually,
club?
I've been working with Betsy Moody, who is part of the New Hampshire Interscholastic Athletic Association Ski Committee, and she helped guide me as far as what are the average sizes for the team. She's dealing with 15 boys right now and 8 girls for her team, and she thought that that was a little high on the boys' side, but is there a limitation? I would say more so in the sense that this isn't a beginning ski program. This isn't somebody who's just learning how to ski. This is just taking it a little bit step further. It's going to be somebody who's very serious about, first of all, ski racing and the commitment that's involved in it. Because it will be an hour commute to Pat's Peak for 2 hours and then conversely coming home. So that's a good commitment for at least the practice as well as the races, which not all will be at Pat's Peak. So what she has found is that in the 23 athletes that she has, she averages about 16 racers per race. There's not a limitation, it's just that that's probably the commitment level that you're going to get.
Could we ask Mike to come to the
Yep, I was gonna-
microphone for a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Could I continue, Ron?
Go ahead.
Kobe, we've started a number of clubs that's morphed into school-sponsored teams. Volleyball started as a club, I believe. Hockey certainly started as a club. Traveling back and forth with the individuals driving themselves, I see in here. Does the school district have any liability when it's a club? When it's a school-sponsored event, we do not allow that because of the potential liability or...
We do not allow students to supply their own transportation to or from an event.
Right. But how about a
It has to
club?
be through a parent. Even, if we approve a club, I would recommend that we do not approve students driving themselves.
And
If they do-
I thought you said that they
Oh,
would
no,
get
no, no,
themselves
no,
there.
No. It would be the parents
Okay.
to come together as a
Stand corrected then.
carpool to
I
do that.
misunderstood what you said.
Okay.
Okay. That was my questions, Ron. Thank you.
Any additional questions from the board? Steve?
Following the Clarence Thomas rule, Dan asked 2 of my questions.
Oh.
Thank you for the answers. You've indicated that Pat's Peak provides all of the coaching. You may not know the answer to this. Our coaches and anyone that's involved with students go through a police background check.
Actually, on one of the pages, let's see, second, I'm sure I didn't number them, third, fourth. Under the expenses, at the bottom is criminal background checks. All the coaches are members of USSSA, and those coaches are required to have background checks before they're given memberships. I, as a coordinator, as a nurse practitioner, I'm required by law every 2 years to undergo that same criminal background check.
Okay. Thank you.
Kobe, any additional comments or questions or
No,
administrative support
I
of
think it's a
this?
viable request. I certainly would support it. Knowing that you'd be bringing it to the town in another year, you're talking most of the high school ski teams have a budget of around $10,000 a year. That includes all of the transportation, entry fees, passes, and any other incidentals, bibs that they have to buy for, the school supplies for them. But that's basically what you're looking at is a budget cost of about $10,000 a year for skiing. I might also add that 28 years ago we did have a ski program here in the district that, because of funds, was eliminated. So.
Dan?
Just one last question. So a year from now, your plans are for the board to approve this evening, or request the board to approve a club, and then you would propose a warrant article at the following year's deliberative session.
If I can see that it's going to be viable this year and that it is going to continue to grow.
Okay.
If it takes 2 years or 3 years for that to come to fruition, that's what I would anticipate in the future.
That said, Ron, I'll make a motion for the school board to approve the New Hampshire Interscholastic Athletic Association Ski Club for Londonderry.
Do I have a second for the motion?
Second.
Okay, Dan made the motion, George seconded. Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Thank you very much and good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. On the agenda, Mark.
Just a couple of announcements to the school board I'd like to make this evening. At the last board meeting, you approved summer school staff, and we will be having, we'll be sending out prior to spring break the summer school information to parents at the elementary level, to those students that are identified. We also have coming up the Scott Forsman Reading Streets Parent Information Night, scheduled for May 24th at Matthew Thornton at 7 p.m. We'll have more information out as we get to that. A couple of other items that I wanted to bring to your attention that was requested by the board earlier in the school year. We have completed the white paper on the importance of mathematics, and that document, which is in your board packet this evening, that will go out. That will go up on the district website tomorrow. The information on that is basically to help parents and community members understand what we're doing in the area of mathematics. It does include tips for promoting the joy of mathematics to students, a variety of our programs that we have in place in the district K to 12, some of the intervention and support services, anywhere from special ed services to special curriculum, will be found in that document. So that will go up tomorrow. The other piece I wanted to bring to your attention, we have also revised the importance of literacy document, and that will also go up on the website as well. We also have been busy the last several weeks in putting together new Leo 21 segments on literacy that will be coming out in the month of May. We will be re-airing last spring's The Importance of Literacy DVD that was put together by a variety of teachers and administrators from the elementary to the high school. But a couple that we have just recently completed with the help of John Bolio and John Connolly. We have one featuring a number of South School teachers called Improving Literacy for All Students. And my special thanks goes to Special Ed Director Grace LaLiberty and Brian Balke for his help on that. Also at the high school level, that was requested by the board, the high school literacy team also put together a DVD on their literacy efforts. The title of that will be Thinking Literacy. It actually takes you into the classrooms of high school history teachers Peter Willis and Jim Tremblay, and there's a roundtable discussion as well with a number of literacy team members. So it will give, I think, parents and community members an idea of where high school teachers are going with literacy, trying to get students to understand what they're reading, arriving at some meaning what they get out of their content areas. So those are just a couple of the pieces that we've been working on.
Questions from the board? Dan?
Mark, can you refresh my memory? What age group do we target the summer enrichment programs toward?
Summer enrichment, which is a later presentation this evening.
Oh, then hold off.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's okay.
Thank you.
Okay, one more item. Okay, any questions? Additional questions from the board? Okay. Thank you, Mark. Brian, I was wondering if you could talk about the Prescription Medication Abuse Forum. Give it a plug.
We are putting together a community forum to promote the awareness of some of the national trends in regards to adolescents abusing prescription medications, either their own medications or medications that may be available in their homes. We have a Thursday evening at 7 o'clock. I believe the date is May 17th, that we will have a panel of different people who work with kids, ranging from folks in the juvenile justice system, the police chief, as well as Mr. Elefante, Mike Torch, who is a licensed drug and alcohol counselor, and we have a child psychiatrist, and hopefully a doctor from Londonderry Pediatrics, as well as some mental health practitioners. And the premise is quite simply to promote the awareness, to make parents aware of some of the dangers that these kids are facing now, and just to really bring, to hold it up to the light, to let people know about the dangers and the risks. I do have, I see that Mr. Beaver has the paper. I could make copies for the board as well, but we will promote that and let PTAs know, as well as the principals, to include information in the newsletters.
Okay, thank you very much. Questions from the board? Okay, thank you. Okay, the meeting schedule, we have there's a meeting of the Budget Committee on April 19th at 7 o'clock, which board members will be attending, on the retirement, New Hampshire Retirement Fund, just so to make it aware that there may be more than several board members. We've got that posted in case there's more than one board member. We have May 1st meeting at 7 o'clock here, May 15th, June 5th, June 19th, and July 24th. All those meetings are at 7 o'clock in the town offices. Okay?
Do we have the date yet for the joint meeting?
Thank you. The date for the joint meeting with the town will be June 12th at 7 o'clock, and that will, I believe, it hasn't been set yet, but I believe that will be at the Londonderry High School Music Room. And one of the items that'll be on the agenda for the next meeting is topics that we would want to discuss. I've gotten several topics. I'll put them together and send it out at the next meeting to discuss. Excellent topics that came up. Okay, can I have a motion on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, comments?
Yeah, we have a couple of retirements. One of them is Rosemary McLean. She's a teacher at the high school. She's been at the Londonderry School District in many, many different capacities. She's worked as a library media assistant. She was a librarian at the high school, and she is a science teacher at Londonderry High School. And she's planning on leaving us in June. Ms. McLean's actively participated on the New Hampshire Science Frameworks Committee for the past 5 years. Her involvement on that state level has allowed the science department at the high school to respond proactively in realigning the curriculum with state standards. Rosemary's also attended the Howard Hughes Medical Institute outreach program offered at Harvard University for many years. The objective of that program is to excite teachers and students about science, to keep them current as to new scientific knowledge and technology, and to encourage their future exploration of the life sciences. Rosemary has selflessly volunteered to help with the after-school robotics team and has been a timekeeper at most of our home swim meets. Her peers and her students, along with the rest of the district, will indeed miss her dedication to her profession and her commitment to learning. We do wish her all the best and many happy years in retirement.
Excellent. Dan?
Ron, I have another one to read here for Margaret Peggy Sinclair. She's been teaching in the 2nd and/or 4th grade for 29 years in the Londonderry School District at South Elementary School. She earned her undergraduate degree in elementary education from Bowling Green State University, That's in Ohio. I guess that's why they asked me to read these. I actually know her, and she's also had one of my sons many years ago. In elementary education, and a master's degree in education from Notre Dame College in 1990. Mrs. Sinclair has been described as totally distinguished in all areas of her teaching. A visitor described her classroom as a comfortable living room. She inspires her students through the use of humor, drama, role modeling, and sharing the secrets of her own thinking. She maintains high standards for behavior and achievement at each child's potential. The South School staff describes Margaret as passionately dedicated to the school and the district. She's a dynamic school leader and has served enthusiastically on a number of committees and teams within the school as well as at the district level. She takes on seemingly impossible tasks and will see them to the end. Her retirement will leave an obvious void in the composition of the South School staff, and her determination and enthusiasm will be truly missed. We wish Margaret many exciting years in retirement. And the board may remember she was just in at the last meeting making presentation with Mrs. Slozak and the other fourth grade teachers. Also, I wish her the best. She loves dachshunds, and she just had to put one down, and I saw her up at the animal center and wish her the best. My son had a great experience with her in fourth grade, and these are the type teachers. It's always sad that we read these each and every time, and we've been here a long time too, and we've known them for a long while, so we wish her the best.
Any other comments? Seeing none, all in favor of the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 5-0. Committee reports. I see Mike's not here. Pat, would you like to start?
I'd be happy to. I wish Mrs. Juster was still here. I have a couple of things from her classroom. In March, students from Mrs. Juster's American Heritage class had the opportunity to share in the Read Across America celebrations when Mrs. Jackson, the library media specialist at the high school, used the distance learning network to connect the high school students to a third grade class in Alabama. The high school students read selected stories to the students in Alabama, and in preparation for their reading, the students selected their favorite books from childhood, researched the author, the genre, and the text to discover interesting tidbits that they then could share with their audience. Also in April, students from the American Heritage classes, which include Mrs. Juster's, Ms. Ferraro's, Mr. O'Connor's, and Mr. Dutton, had the opportunity to take a virtual field trip to the Rutgers Camden Center for the Arts at Rutgers University to attend a lecture on the connection between poetry, prose, and art. This field trip provided an interactive college lecture experience for the students, and they truly enjoy the level of academic discourse and opportunity to test the waters of university life. Thanks go out once again to Mrs. Jackson for making this distance learning opportunity available. Steve Iarocci from the middle school wants you to know that the 8th grade Washington trip was once again a fantastic success. Thanks should go out to Laura Lambert, who coordinated the trip, and to all the chaperones, and the kids did a great job representing their school and the town of Londonderry. From the LMS Music Department, on Saturday, May 5th, a total of 15 middle school music students, 10 vocalists, and 5 instrumentalists will be representing LMS in the upcoming South Central District Music Festival in Hooksett. So we wish them well. The South School Drama Club is performing Peter Pan 3 times on Thursday this week, and the performances will be held at 10 and 1:30 and again at 7 o'clock at night for friends and family members. All 94 cast members have been working very hard for their production. North School will be completing their 2007 enrichment clusters this week. The Matthew Thornton Chorus Band and Orchestra students are performing tonight, as we've already heard. And all the 4th grade students have just completed participation in naming the Old Home Day theme for 2007. The different classes brainstormed ideas, submitted them, and that will be voted on at the Old Home Day Committee later on this week. And Moose Hill School, again, they seem to be the ones that do all these wonderful service projects, collected pennies for patients during the month of March in an effort to raise funds for leukemia patients. And the students were able to donate over $400 for a great cause. So good for them. That's it.
Thank you. School board, first thing I'd like to do is I've handed out, or in the package, there's the school board liaison committee assignments. I think I try to match up everyone to what they were looking for. Is there any changes on here that anyone would like to make? Seeing none? We're all set for the next year. And Ben, I'm the primary on the town council. If you can back me up on that, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Okay. Committee reports. Starting with you, Ben, any? You got you.
Well, I was going to call you and go to the town council meeting, but you took it, so.
Okay.
I don't have any.
Okay. George?
Yeah, Ron, I just got the planning board from last week, I guess. The big thing there is the housing task force that was started. The meeting is scheduled now for May 3rd. It had been pushed, but they've got the at-large members they were looking for, so that'll take place on May 3rd. I'm the school board rep for that, so I'll be attending. The other big thing was the Town Commission and Impact Fee Study, where they took a look at the impact fees for fire, police, as well, roads, as well as the school impact fee. The one change is we used to be at .824 children per house. We're now at .746 children per house. I've got all the information from Andre. After that meeting, I asked him for the methodology they used to come up with that. So I'll wade through that and figure out how they came up with it. The older number for the impact fee was $6,134. The new recommended number is $7,699 impact fee. So again, I'll do the research and report back to the board on how they come up with that. I don't think it's any secret that I don't understand how we get .76 kids in a 3 or 4 bedroom house. So hopefully I'll figure that out.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you. Steve?
Straight from my street of 7 homes and 21 children. The numbers don't work for me, but this evening we had a special education meeting, and there was an excellent presentation on, for those that are developmentally delayed, life after high school presentation that occurred over at Pinkerton, and something that we'll be participating in again in future years, and the parents had an opportunity to participate in this. There was also a discussion, many may remember, I had a question during a school board meeting about the class ratio, how many special education students we have to, what's the word? Not the regular students.
Inclusion.
Inclusion is the word I'm, okay. What was your new word? Okay, for those in the studio audience, that's typically development. So the ratio of that, in layman's terms, what I was interested in is how many of the students, what's the percentage mix? The LEAP people, and originally, when I knew them years ago when they were my neighbor, over on Action Boulevard, they had a 50% ratio. And that's now changed, and that ratio is 1/3 to 2/3, or 1/3 of regular students and 2/3 of the special education students. Lynn gave an excellent presentation on how important it is to have a 50% ratio or a larger ratio than we may have today, because those students act as mentors and instructors to those other students. And I have my own theory, too, about that's where we start with creating leaders for the community, is in 3rd and 4th grade, by helping other students that are in need. And that's all I have.
Dan?
Real quick, platform committee met a week ago Monday, and pretty much on track to make a presentation to the school board and sometime in May, one of those May meetings. The platform committee is making determination, for those who don't know the terminology or probably doesn't have but it's, right now we have a dual platform in technology of Apples and PCs. So the platform committee has been challenged to look if that's what the methodology we should continue with, or go to a singular platform of PCs. So that presentation will be in May at the board's, or at the chair's discretion. The second committee I attended was the South School Space Needs Committee. There'll be some discussion tonight from Peter relative to that in his presentation, in looking to approve the architect contract and as well as some discussion centered around the general contractor. So that's it for me. Thank
Okay.
you.
I had attended the council meeting on Monday night. It was a pretty light agenda for that meeting, so nothing that would affect the school board at that meeting. I also attended the technology committee meeting, and we had discussed the platform subcommittee's report. We also had an excellent demonstration by Joe Oswald on the Inspired Data software that showed the graphing, which is an excellent tool. And we're also talked about the hardware and software update of the matrices. So that stuff is going on, and the committee is coming to an end by the end of the year, and we'll have a final report from the committee probably in the May, June timeframe, I would think, is when we would have the report.
Can I ask a
Yes.
quick question on the technology committee? Are we still required to update our tech plan each and every year to the state?
Sue?
I mean, that's a time-consuming event.
Yes.
We're required to update the plan every 3 years.
Okay.
And our current plan is, however, we submitted it last year. They only gave us a 1 year's approval because we
Oh, that's why
only
I
gave
thought-
them a budget for 1 year because we could not forecast out for the 3 years. So our plan is approved, and we are in the process of now submitting our budget for the coming year, now that it has been approved by the voters.
Just,
Does that make sense?
no.
No.
I mean, what you said makes sense to me,
We
but
have
what
a-
doesn't make sense, so if we just put the same budget out for 3 years, we would have had a 3-year plan approved and saved the district a lot of time. So
We
it'd
would've
be a
had a
little bit of
3-year
fabrication, but,
We would have had a 3-year plan approved. Really, the only piece of the plan that we have to submit now annually are the budget numbers.
oh, okay, so we don't have to go through that
Not-
whole.
no,
when-
not at all.
When
Just-
we were on the
just
tech
the
committee.
budget.
Okay, that makes sense. Thank you.
Just,
Oh, and by the way, happy National Library Week, I forgot to.
Oh, same to you.
yes.
And to you.
Excuse me. One of the things I failed to mention when we talk about the liaison reports, one of the things I'd like to get back to is that the board members are the point of contact for the committees themselves. Instead of touching, several board members and then administrative people, make a point of contact so that they talk to the board person, then the board person will come to the administration that way, so we could cut down some of the crosstalk on it. Any problems? Seeing none? Thank you. Okay, superintendent's report. Peter,
Yes.
third quarter financial
Yes.
report.
I don't have any fox and, I don't have any fox and chicken stories. I didn't bring any cookies tonight. I did bring some good news financially, though, to the taxpayers and to the district. Our projection for the overall year-end fund balance for the school district is just over $546,000. That's what we project or expect the year-end fund balance to be as we get close to June 30. That's broken out into two sides of the general ledger. The revenues, that we'll talk to in a minute, should produce somewhere around $320,600. We'll go through those in a second. And we expect at this point, given the known expenditures of encumbrances, some of the history trends that we know come up annually that haven't been encumbered yet, we expect the district to come in somewhere around $225,000 on the expenditure side below budget. Just a point of note, when we did the budget development for FY08, we used a number of $100,000 as a year-end surplus to be used for tax purposes. So now we're projecting somewhere around, as I said, 546, which is an additional 14 cents. That will be, obviously, if we into the tax rate, will be used. So that's also a positive note. Many of the revenue items, I'll talk about the operating revenue first, and then I'll talk about the trust funds. Many of the individual revenues have been were stated back in December and pretty much followed through, but I'll go through them quickly. That Ben was not on the board at the time. Catastrophic aid, as we remember, We were given, as we always are, a number from the state to use for tax purposes in December. We used that number, obviously, and then subsequently received notification that we'd be getting a higher amount. That's where that number comes from. Other state aid comes through. We found an adjustment in a particular state form that we use, and this is for Volk Transportation, and that number has been approved by the state, and we'll carry that number forward. That's where that positive adjustment comes from. Medicaid, we're projecting, as my memo says, $15,000 below projection. That could, I mean, as I mentioned in my memo, that could swing just as well on the positive side as what we're saying. We're giving you a conservative number right now. What happens is we, in the past several years, have received upwards of 15 to 25% of the total Medicaid funds in the months of April, May, and June. And it's all based on timing. If we know what students this is for, or for what month, we can book it, in the proper months. But sometimes we just get a check. If the check comes, or if it's dated in July, we have to book it in the appropriate fiscal year. So conservatively, we believe we'll come in no worse off than the $15,000 under. Interest on investments. We said back in December that we were going to do better than the budget, and there are really two reasons for this. One of them is when we talked about interest on investments. We do this. We project this number in October, and it's 8 months before the fiscal year even starts, and then we go subsequently 12 months after to get to the fiscal year. When we did this, the interest rates were somewhere hovering around 3%, but now we're now getting over 5.25% in our sweep account. So that's obviously a major player. Second, or the three, we did have some working capital from the North School building project, not a whole lot, but there was 2 or 3 months because of the project's timing, that additional money other than normal operating money that we were able to invest in our overnight sweep account. And the third one is, this is probably the one account that we will budget conservatively on an annual basis. I do believe, a point of note, that we could probably raise this number from FY08. I think we have 210 as the number for the budget. We could probably move that as we get closer to setting the tax rate to like 250. We'll just watch the interest rates, and if it looks like they're stable, we could comfortably move to 250. As I mentioned, we're conservative on this only because, as many of us know, the school district does not have a revolving fund balance or surplus. Any and all surplus must go to the taxpayers to reduce the following year's tax rate. So if we were to budget all the revenues, our revenue or local revenues to the penny, and the state was to pull back, let's say on building aid, just for discussion, that would automatically send the district into a deficit if we were to spend the entire budget. So by keeping this conservative, we hold back some of it purposely, just in case the state decides to fund 96% of catastrophic aid or 96% of building aid. That's one of the reasons we'll always be conservative. We don't want to be ultra conservative, but somewhat on the conservative side as a hedge in case something happens. And if you remember, the last couple of years that has happened, where they've pulled back and we've only reserved a prorated number for CAT aid and or building aid. Any questions on the operating revenues?
George?
Actually, I think you may have answered that, Peter. I was going to talk about the interest on investments. Just in your opinion, over the last 5 years, if we always come in, somewhere around that same number, it just seems to me that that's a very it appears to be a volatile market. If you're saying 3 and we're looking at 5.25, right. And I'm not a financial wizard, but it seems to me that we're either in the wrong market if it's that volatile, because I assume we can also go the other way. Should we be looking for something more stable where you can do a better job at predicting this? Because, I mean, this is, $150,000 on a $200,000 estimate.
Right.
So that's a big swing.
I think on this one, we were probably leaning more towards the conservative than anything else. Just so everyone knows, we do it, our interest rates are a sweep account, and we receive the 90-day T-bill, or sometimes we actually receive better than that. Because of the way we receive our money, we get it, I wouldn't say a just-in-time basis from the town, but we get allotments of money from the town. The idea and the way the statutes is designed is that the town is required to provide the cash flow to the school district necessary to sustain operations. So we don't have a whole lot of working capital where we can do a 6-month or a 12-month T-bill or whatever.
Thanks, Peter.
Any other questions? Dan?
Let's stay there for a minute, Peter. We do have a sweep account, so what we do, we go to the town, we request when our appropriations, or we deem our appropriations necessary, we go to the town holds that money from the state and then transfers it into our account.
Yes, what we'll do is, Anita and I will get together, and we'll actually do a cash flow statement to the town. We know how much, really, if you take our payroll, which is, 85% of our budget, we take the payroll, we add some expenses, we know what we're gonna get from the state, usually within a week's time, and then we backfill the amounts that we need for cash flow with I think it's every 2-week monies from the town.
Right, so we don't generate a whole heck of a lot of interest on that. So I thought the interest disparity, $150,000, so 2 points is a huge chunk of cash. So I thought the interest disparity last year was attributable to the North School bond, and there was, it was not the budget. So that explained last year. So the sweep account, to me, doesn't explain a $150,000 variance, because I thought the town actually gets that interest, and what we do is, and it stays on the town side. What happens is, when we need appropriations, we contact the town, they put it into our account, and then it's pretty quick that those disbursements, payroll, AP, are made.
We have our own sweep account with Citizens Bank.
Right, I know that.
So we get our own interest.
But it's in and out, so.
Yes.
I don't see how we can generate $150,000 worth of interest from a sweep account.
I think the two end is.
There's got to be something else in there.
Yeah, there were 3 reasons that I had here. One was, when we did the projection on interest, we were getting under 3%.
Right.
It's now over 5%.
Right.
So that's one area. And 2, I think we were conservative on interest on investment budgeting. That's why I said I think we can raise that.
Is our investments, once again, our bonds?
No, interest on, we still have money that we gain interest on a daily basis. We don't get, we always have some working money that gets swept up and then we receive some interest on. So it's not like just in time where we don't have no working capital.
No,
we
but
do
it
have some
doesn't,
money.
but it's not a 90-day window either.
No, but we do receive on the sweep account because of the custody account, the interest rate equivalent to the 90-day T-bill rate. So we do get a fair amount of money. Certainly not as much as the town, and certainly we can't float the window like now on the town side. We can't go 6-month or 9-month T-bills.
It just seems to me, and I don't mean to be argumentative, and I'll drop this, but $350,000 worth of interest on a sweep account, even with taking into consideration the 2% variability, doesn't tie in my mind. It's just, it seems like a big number, because my understanding is, and am I correct, the town actually carries the majority of the interest on the monetary considerations raised from the state for the school funding.
Yes,
and the taxes.
Yes, they would have much better
right
money or working money to float.
It just seems like a large number to me, based on that. And last year, I understood the explanation was the North School bond.
Yes.
And I'm wondering if some of that's carried over into this year.
And I said there was like 2 or 3 months, because remember the timing, we did have some construction going on.
Then that's where I think the majority of this really is.
That's what I was gonna say, that if, remember the timing of the payouts on North School, we carried a hunk of money over into this fiscal year, and that's partly reflected in the sweep interest.
But I think that, to George's point, I don't think you can take this as normal course of events, because I would budget this now that that bond's out of there.
Right, and that's why I said I think,
The sweep account, I would think, is like $40,000-$50,000 a year, if that.
that's why I think conservatively, I do think we could go to 250.
I didn't hear you say North School, or the bond, I apologize.
Okay.
Okay, so that's where it is. Thank
Any
you.
other questions on this portion?
I was gonna ask.
Go ahead.
What's your average cash balance?
I can find out. It do you know what you don't know what a cash balance is?
I know what mine is.
It varies depending on
Asking the
payrolls and how many payrolls. Ask the auditor, always ask the accountant. I could find out for you, or we could try to get an idea.
Okay, any other questions?
On the trust funds, I gave table 1 on the second page, has the updated balances of the trust funds that the school maintains, school impact fee account, school maintenance trust fund. Keep in mind, this was done before we took the withdrawal that was approved at the last meeting. Still have $30,000 in gaining some interest in the school capital projects, and then we have the sped trust fund that we had put $100,000 in, so we've gained just over $3,000 in interest when we established that fund.
The school capital projects,
Yes.
what is that, from what project? Is that the North School?
No, I think before I got here, it was the intent, I believe, of the school district to put X dollars away on an annual basis for capital projects. I think John Silvestro was the inventor of that. And I think we had upwards, if I remember correctly, somewhere around $500,000, I think was the initial. We had about $600,000. And when we did Moose Hill, I thought we drew down a considerable amount of that money to help fund the Moose Hill construction, and left this $30,000. If you go back to, I'm going to say 6 or 7 years ago, I'll find the Warren article in the intent. I believe, I think I was on the town side, but I think when the school wanted to do this, they were going to put 200 or whatever away, gain interest, and then when you had a large capital project, I'm just making an example, a $700,000 roof, you had to do that large one. That's what I remember. Or I think maybe it was to offset bonds when you want to do like the high school renovation. There was the money that could offset the bonding.
I guess, can we, right now, there doesn't seem to be a purpose to that. It seems like that somehow we should be liquidating that account.
Yes, I
don't know how, but I
I
think
understand. I do have a purpose that I'll be discussing the next board meeting with you.
Okay.
Or an option to use the $30,000.
Okay.
But you're right. At the moment, it really just kind of sits there with no real purpose.
Okay. On the school impact fees,
Yes.
what do you see the status of that? How much we drawing down this year? Have we taken the money already, or?
We've taken the money for this fiscal year. So what you see is $232,000 with, no other drawdown for this year. The question comes in, we have only collected this year almost $143,000. The problem is, this time last year, we had this time last year about 387, so we're running considerably short. And I think the problem is, in my memory, I think it's correct, for about a year or two, we didn't draw our impact fees down, so we had a fair amount of money available, and we're drawing down in 350. I think the previous year, last year, they collected $290,000. So right now, as I say, unless something changes, we're running the collection run rate is a little bit behind it was in the past few years. I think for FY08, we could probably collect 350, because keep in mind, you don't need to collect the whole 350 by July 1st. We've done that because we've had the money in the bank. You actually have until June 30 to meet the budgetary obligation of 350 as budgeted. The question is, what balance, if we don't start collecting more money than 142, what will we have when we do the FY09 budget?
Okay.
Right.
Any, Dan?
Oh, and a question and addendum to that. Refresh my memory. What year did we put the high school bond? Was it 5 years
2000.
ago now, 6 years ago?
2002.
Okay,
Moose Hill was when Nate and I came here in 2000. And I thought 2002, we did the high school.
So I know, and I think Ben was on the finance committee with me, I know that we've drawn down each and every year a minimum of $300,000 in impact fee. So.
I think the 1 year, I could be wrong, I thought the 1 year we didn't.
No, we did. So, and then I think the last year or so, it was 350.
The last 2 years.
Yes. So, and the reason for that, we told the voters that we would finance the bond with, for a period of 10 years, $300,000 of impact fees per
Yes.
year.
Yeah. So we're getting.
So we have continuously met that commitment.
And above that.
Is that your recollection too, Ron and Ben?
That's correct.
Okay.
And above that, because.
And above that, yeah. But there, you said you thought we took a year hiatus, and we did not, because that was the commitment we had made. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none, you want to continue, Peter?
We move now to the other side, which we call it the budget, and that is the expenditure side. Two of the larger accounts, or groups of accounts that are providing the savings, as I mentioned earlier. Obviously, the larger one in my memo is the salary accounts, and that's, again, all salary accounts, not just regular ed, all the salary accounts that for professional or full-time employees. And the second one is the utilities, and about 90% of that utilities money is electricity. When we did this budget for electricity, if you remember, these budgets kind of get blurred together sometimes. When we did this, there were hints, and we received notifications that there would be subsequent increases in utility rates, and those rates were obviously budgeted when Chuck did the utility for this year. Those rates have not been as high as expected, and then that's the majority of the savings in the electric rate. Had Mother Nature not turned on us in March and April, there would have been a larger number, but that's not going to happen. On table 3, as I've done, I've given you a list of the larger accounts that either are over now or going over. Some of them are regulars, like the first one, the substitutes or temporary help accounts. And then we listed with some of these, and most of these were on the December report. Central computer software hasn't changed. Replacement equipment has gone up. We've had, we counted 17 workstations that we replaced on one-on-one basis. And there were some monitors that we needed. We ran out of our supply of old monitors. Sped transportation was identified. Buildings and grounds, construction services, the reason for the 50,000 overage is we identified in the budget process that we would be using some of the savings in utilities to offset some of the construction services account that were cut during the budget process, and that's what that is. That's what that's about. Sped general supplies was in December, as well as nursing, other students. Regular education, new equipment is the same. Buildings and grounds, purchase services. That was in December. Central computer supplies. This is really an offset from maintenance. It is difficult to sometimes determine whether we're buying supplies or maintenance when we're buying floppy drives or memory or whatever, whether it's repair or we're buying for supply. The maintenance account is about the same amount under budget as this general supply account is. So the two together, we're on target to finish the year. Business office professional services. This is a new requirement coming down from us that Chuck was not aware of when we did this budget. And this is the money to fund the consultant to do a PCB test district-wide for the district. And just so you know, we have not found any in the district, but the testing is required. I'll skip that one, next one for a second. Regular ed miscellaneous purchases, as my memo mentioned, this is reimbursements coming from the middle school to cover the Brown Center expenses, and that will be coming soon. Central Computer Professional Services is the account we're using for the consultant. I did take the leftover money from the employee that had the position and moved it into this line, and that's the delta between finishing out this person as a contractor and the difference that Mr. Bojowski's unused salary. Which leaves us to account number 611, regular ed learning materials, with a $115,000 overage on the budget. In the packet, I believe right behind my memo, was a memo from Mr. Mark Blount explaining the benefits of accelerating the purchases needed for the reading program, and what benefit it would provide, both on purchasing and educational delivery, by accelerating the implementation of the reading program. Some of this money that's here was reduced during the budget process in FY08, and it was therefore a 2 or 3 year program. If the board agrees with this proposal, we would have the reading program from K to 5 implemented and ready to go for the upcoming September 08 school year. With all that, and with that, and all these encumbrances and expenditures is included in my projection of the $225,000 to the good at year end from the expenditure side.
Questions? Seeing none. Okay, anything else, Peter?
The only part I left out was the food service report, and Nancy is here tonight when we get to that point, and she will go over, as requested, how the food service program is doing to date. And there's a couple of expenditures that she'll, on the second part of her presentation, will present to the board and open for discussion. That's all I have.
Questions from the board? Questions from the audience? Seeing none, let's move on to, Andy, you want to do the middle school schedule update?
Andy, when you complete that, if you could do me a favor too, and just give the board a quick update on the Washington DC trip too.
I wanted to take this opportunity to update the board on the middle school master schedule. It's kind of been a 3-year in-progress adjustments. Next year, we are going to be moving to a fixed A to J period schedule on a daily basis. This will allow students to have a much more consistent day, allow us to deliver special curriculum and special education in a more efficient fashion. We really feel that providing the consistency for the students, enhancing the delivery of services, as well as assisting in the transition from 5th to 6th grade and 8th to 9th. The 5th graders come in from basically a fixed schedule, and then they can get on any sort of rotation that presently goes on. The same with the 8th going to the 9th. In the past, we've utilized drop rotations, rotating and fixed. Our related arts departments, which are music, PE, world language, and reading, are always fixed, so it's a jumble every day. And most times, when I'm sitting in my office dealing with a student, and I say, okay, what class are you going back to write your pass? A lot of them will say to me, well, I don't know. I go wherever the kid next to me goes in my locker and things like that. So it's a consistent problem. It's also a problem for the parents who are trying to figure out, they know the homework's due, they have no idea what period is, so they just hope to get it in there and get it in before the child has that period. So we really think we can add some consistency to it. We've had 4 teams this year, 2 8th grade teams, a 7th grade and a 6th grade team that went to a fixed schedule so we could examine this. They have found it been very beneficial for their students, as well as the services that they've been able to deliver for the special ed. Let me give you a couple examples of why it's important. Right now, at 7th grade, we run the algebra section for the advanced algebra kids. This year, we were forced to put all those kids on the same team. So that really skews that team and skews discussions in history, English. By going to a consistent schedule, we can now label a period of the day, call it C period, and kids can be put on all 4 teams and just be pulled out into special curriculum during C period. So we think there's been a lot of benefits. There's been an awful lot of discussion. This is a topic that basically has been a part of the discussions for 3 years, and I think though everybody still doesn't agree, I would say the consensus is that this will be beneficial to the kids. So if the board has any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Questions from the board? Dan?
Andy, do you have this, the last sentence you have? The administration will continue to support the use of a non-traditional schedule when appropriate.
Right.
When would that be appropriate?
I'll give you 2 examples. The 7th grade team for the Cyclones runs a Greek unit where they take an entire week. And what we do is we allow them to create the schedule for that 1 week only. And they work with their related arts teachers. The other place would also be in the 7th grade with the artists in residence. So anytime where it's going to enhance the delivery of services, we can absolutely do it. It's just too many times it's trying to make sure that we're delivering the appropriate services, especially for the special ed child that's covered in their IEP. So we will adjust administratively if it's going to enhance curriculum. We just feel that for the other 165 days a year, this consistent schedule will benefit the kids.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board? Seeing none, any questions from the audience? You don't need a motion or anything on this, do you?
No.
Okay.
Just a quick update on Washington.
Washington.
We had a wonderful trip again. I think this is one of the, there are many great days to be principal, but it's great to be sitting at your computer and get an email from the travel company just telling us how wonderful our kids are, how the chaperones are always there, and the trip is so well organized. We were able to do just some fantastic things with great kids. We have many people in town who, I can think of 2 local firefighters who now give up vacation time to assist us on the trip on a yearly basis, and they add 2 more EMTs to the trip, as well as 2 gentlemen who just have a passion for what this trip offers kids. The kids every night are, a little bit rowdy to start, and then we go through that first day of getting up at 6 a.m. and going till about 9:30, 10 o'clock, and all of a sudden they're more than willing to go to bed. Many of the kids were kind of shocked that if you're at the Smithsonian and you walk out and it's raining and you get soaking wet, well, you really can't run back to the hotel and change. It's time to get off to Mount Vernon or wherever the next trip was. So there were a lot of growth and learning experiences for a number of kids. We are in contact with them probably a half dozen times a day. Some of the fun things that we do, they will call in and we will say the Pledge of Allegiance with the school, with them on the buses via the bus microphone and that, so they start the day pretty much with us. We call, usually have a check-in between Mr. Richards and myself at the end of the day. Every morning we get sheets. Blake gets them on every room if there's any problems. I think it's really well done. Laura Lambert gets all the credit for this. She, every year, figures out a way to take, about 350 kids away in a very cost-effective manner. I know the trip is about $540, but I think they get a lot for their money over the 4 days. I know one of the things that we have heard from parents is looking at should the trip be extended another day to take advantage of looking at either a Gettysburg or a Williamsburg, to look at a part that they studied, which is the Civil War. So we are going to be investigating that, and I might be coming back to the board, with some cost estimates and figures for that to look at that piece.
Excellent. Questions from Steve?
Presently showing on the Leo 21, is that this year's trip? I've only caught segments of it.
That is actually last year's trip.
Last year's trip.
And
Okay.
we're looking, we did that last year, and we're working with Sue to try to make that an annual event where we bring somebody with us, because those DVDs went like hotcakes for the kids, and it really is a very concrete memory of a wonderful experience.
Yeah, I spent half an hour or so on it, and it was to see the learning that was going on was very impressive. And even, I think I saw you learning some things too.
Absolutely.
And the respect that they gave to some of the grave sites that they visited, I thought was just very impressive. You mentioned $540 for a fee. Can you talk just a little bit about what we do to help students in need, families in need, and what percentage of the class does take advantage of the trip?
Well, this year, I don't know the exact percentage, but in a dollar amount, we probably, as a district, provided about $7,400 worth of scholarships. And that could be some family needing $100 of assistance to a family who might need total assistance. Basically, if a family comes to us and tells us they want their child to go and they met the academic requirements and that, we find a way. Many times it's our own faculty who will step up, or we have many parents who are fantastic and will come in with a check because they know that so-and-so won't be able to go, and they just hand it to us and say, we don't want anybody to know, but tell the child they're all set. I had, this year, I do want to mention that we had the local group of churches. They got together and provided every single kid going to Washington with a breakfast. Bagel, juice, snack bars, everything. They were there at 4:30 with a large group to give them all out. So it's really becoming more and more of a community event. We had another church group that stepped up and came in with spending money because they had heard through their church that some kids wouldn't be able to get the same souvenirs. So they just walked in and handed me cash and said, please make sure that these children are taken care of. So as we always see in the community, the support is definitely there.
That's tremendous. Any other questions on the working trip? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. Thank you, Andy.
Okay. Nate, the enrollment
A
figures?
March enrollment report. Our grand total, including special education out-of-district students, home study students, and adult ed, is 5,455 students. We provided you with the comparisons to the previous year at this point in time, and also you see the difference between February. We're down 5 students from February '07. It's an interesting pattern. Usually at this time of year, you see a continuing drop in high school enrollment, but in fact, we had an increase of 3 compared to last month. Middle school was down 1, South School 6, Matthew Thornton up 2, North School down 2, Moose Hill down 3, and Leap up 2. There you go.
Questions on the enrollment figures? And just for the viewing audience, on the Londonderry website, we have our accent on achievement that has our this year's reports, or for the last few years' reports, and the this year's reports. So it's available to the community if they want to look at it. It's got a lot of very good information on the accents for achievement, and the administration has done an excellent job on putting that together every year. Okay, now comes the good part of the meeting.
All right, before Nancy presents her report, she's provided bribery again, so I just pass this around.
Do
and
you
then
know,
we
do you
can-
know that reporters are only allowed to take coffee? They can't take any, for some reason, they have it in their rules.
Once the board takes it, I'll pass around to the audience.
Hate to eat on camera.
And then
What is this?
Make sure it keeps coming.
Pick one of the chocolate ones. Trust me.
Food service.
Nancy's not allowed to come unless
Nancy,
she
you can
brings
come
food,
This is.
I'm all set, thank you.
As it should be.
I can't eat that. Is she ready?
Can't eat in front of the people.
I don't think till Nate tells her she can come up.
they're working.
I'm hoping Chris picks up.
Nancy, come on up.
Well, here we are, another year.
Such enthusiasm.
I'll get to that later. We're having a good time in food service, keeping things moving along, feeding the kids. We're serving about 54% of the school district, which is a phenomenal number. I think we were at 38% the year before I came here. So that's improved quite a bit, and with that, we've been able to make a little profit along the way, which is sorely needed for some new equipment. I'm gonna get to that in a minute. But I did want to just go over real quickly about breakfast, which is doing very well. We've served almost 10,000, well, at that point, the figures that I've given in my report are to January, and we've served about 10,000 meals in that time period between the beginning of the school year and January, and that's not including the numbers of children that come in and just get a bagel or just get a juice or get a coffee or, you know, whatever. They just pick up something and, you know, take it off with them for the morning. So there's a lot of things that are kind of grab and go, and so they've been able to get a nice wholesome breakfast here at school. So it's been really great. Speaking of wholesomeness.
Nancy needs a cookie.
Somehow Brian ended up with the plate.
Pardon me?
Brian ended up with the plate of cookies.
I feel bad for
That's
Nita.
very
She's
scary.
between Brian and Jim.
That's very scary.
Nita better be careful.
I'm also a member of the Wellness Committee, and we've been working very slowly, as a matter of fact, on our objectives. We've are working with Beth Wheeler, who's a woman who's putting together a group for the Derry Londonderry area working on childhood obesity. So we're kind of getting some nice guidance from her and expect to have some serious direction for us for next year. In the meantime, my part as food service director is to just continuously be improving the offerings that we have for the students. So we've done a lot of that just by changing, you know, white bread to whole grain bread, lower fat items, you know, nice changes. They've cost a little bit more, but for the most part, it's better for the kids. So we're doing a lot of that, and that's pretty great. Now, if we look at the numbers, I've got a couple of things here. I've got a 3-year comparison of 05, 06, and 07, and that goes year-to-date to January 31st. And very, very quickly, you'll see that our income is up significantly over the previous 2 years. And a lot of that, if you look, is at the federal level, federal and state reimbursement level, and also at the high school. And I believe that breakfast has contributed largely to that increase. Most everything else is running par. Food's up a little bit, as you would expect. Salaries are up a little bit, as you would expect. And if we go down to looking at repairs, you'll see that there's a significant difference in what we're spending on repairs. And that's where I want to lead into talking about dishwashers. We have spent almost $3,000 to date on dishwasher repairs. What we do have is South School did not pass the state inspection, as did the high school did not pass the state inspection, and that was on Monday. So we've got issues with both dishwashers. We're doing what we can. The dishes are clean, and we're making do, but the dishwashers both need to be replaced. In looking at the CIP that I submitted in December, we have on it already for FY08 to have the middle school have the dishwasher replaced, and also the high school to have a new dishwasher put in. So when the South School dishwasher we've already made arrangements to replace that. I see also that Matthew Thornton is due to be replaced in 2010. So we went out and got pricing on dishwashers for all 4 schools. And the bid is, the winning bid, or the bid that we have, is attached. Notable is that by buying the 4 dishwashers, we're saving about $2,000 per dishwasher, which is almost a whole dishwasher. Well, it was a half dishwasher. And it would guarantee me no dishwasher repairs for 1.5 years, because it would come with an extended warranty for 18 months. And that's pretty great, something that we could use, see our equipment repairs going down. And I believe a residual offering of new dishwashers is less hot water being used, saving a little bit of energy here and there. So every little bit counts, and I think that especially at the high school, we'll be downsizing the dishwasher from something that does multiple wash tanks and multiple rinse tanks to something that's much more appropriate for the size school that we are, which is a single wash, a single rinse, and a final rinse. So we'll be saving a lot of water, hot water, at the high school. What I did was, I have done a lot of purchasing with Perkins, a paper company, in the past. And Peter suggested I also solicit bids from other companies. So I pulled my cooperative group, which is a group of 12 schools, to find out where they buy equipment from. There was a company in Bow, a company in Kingston, and a company in Lowell. All received bids. One did not respond, and the other person responded by saying that they didn't prepare quotes, which I thought, well, was interesting. Okay, how do you get business if you don't prepare quotes? Kind of a funny thought for me. Anyway, so this was the one that was the lowest. It's a company that I have a lot of experience with, and I know that they'll do a real nice job for us. Also, I have, very quickly, I have an updated report, which is, goes year to date through March. So it's a little more current, and it shows where we stand currently.
Peter?
A couple of things I want to touch on with the dishwasher issue. First of all, kind of like along the way, when we talk about technology, we brought up the word, what's the total cost of installation. Nancy has been working diligently with Chuck to talk about some of the electrical upgrades, work that will need to be done, and she showed you on the last 2 pages. So what you get is a total cost of not only the purchasing of the equipment, but what some of the rewiring or electrical upgrades that would need to be done at the various, that will also be covered by the food service department. But I wanted to make sure that everyone understands that, first of all, these will be done no matter when we buy the dishwashers, so it's not really an additional cost by buying them now. It's gonna get done whenever a new dishwasher is purchased.
Can I just intervene here? If we can look at the projected year end for the food service department, you'll see that we're projecting a cumulative profit of about $121,000. So to be able to take out $76,000 for the dishwashers leaves us still with a very comfortable cushion for any other emergencies that may be coming along as well.
The other point I was gonna make, Mr. Chairman, is that the dishwashers do have a significant lead time. It's not like you can go to Sears and, buy one for our houses and put one in 2 weeks. They are like a 4 to 6 week lead time. The idea was, if you remember when South School, on the original capital improvement plan, the date was FY '09, and that was really there to be consistent with the proposed bond project, whereby when we're doing renovations, that would be incorporated in the bond. So that was there really for that, to kind of blend in with a renovation project, not necessarily meet, what the needs were. And as Nancy pointed out, it has failed now, and we've already gone ahead and ordered a new dishwasher for South School because of the situation where it's broken. What we thought was, and the numbers proved out, as Nancy pointed out, went back and said, okay, if we buy one dishwasher, it's X value, but if we commit to 4, is there a savings on buying, not a large quantity, but 4 dishwashers, in one area? And as Nancy pointed out, there would be a total savings to the district if we commit to the 4. What we would do is install the other 3 over the summer months. We wouldn't do them now. South School is scheduled to be done during the April vacation. We would commit the money to whatever vendor, and then have the work done in coordination with Chuck done over the summer, thereby making a savings on equipment that we're going to get one day or another anyways.
Questions from the board? Steve?
I had some questions, but Peter's comment just made me think of another one. So if this were to be approved, you wouldn't expend the money and buy the dishwashers today and put them in a closet?
No.
You would
We
buy them when you need
For
it?
South School, we would.
Buy South School right away?
We
And
would
the other
then,
ones, you would phase in and only expend the money when you needed it?
we would encumber the money at the end of the year, use the money that's left over the end of the year, and then install all three over the summer when there's no students around, buildings are empty, so forth and so
Right,
on.
they would be in this fiscal year
Yeah.
over the next few months. The number of companies you approached for a bid,
4.
the number of companies that responded?
Well, 3 responded, 1 responded by saying they wouldn't provide a quote.
Okay, of the 2 that responded with quotes, what was the other quote at? This quote was $67,810.
It was, I don't remember, and I don't have it with me. I didn't bring my
Approximate?
file. Approximately $4,000
I was
higher?
gonna say 70,000 was the number I remember.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Other questions from the board?
Just a couple of questions. So did we publish the bid?
We couldn't publish the bid for the South School one because we needed it right away. Well, I understand the concern. What we did is we went back to the 4 that we did for South School and asked them up front, now that we know that we need 3 others, would there be a savings? So if the board wants to go out to bid, advertise, that's fine, but then I don't know what happens with the, lack of a better word, quantity savings of buying or committing to the other 3, with Perkins being the lowest bid for South School. It's a little different situation. I understand what you're saying, only because South School was an emergency that needed to get done. We wanted to then see if we can get I know volume isn't 4, but a volume of large equipment. We understand the board wants the information up front and then come back the following board meeting with recommendation, or tonight, it's up, obviously up to the pleasure of the board and how you want to handle this. We have time to advertise, if that's the pleasure. Though I'm just wondering what happens to the discount from Perkins. And I don't know the answer.
Comment?
Well, I think as a rule, we should be advertising bids.
Right, and I believe there's another one that you are advertising that you're going out for. This one here is a little different. They went out for the emergency one, and you got the discount. I think we're a little bit in the middle of this, but Peter has said that all future bids will be advertised. And there was another bid that you have gone out for.
All my advertisements, I think, have been done. There's 2 of them that were done. You're right, that's the point I'm making. It was kind of the middle where we had to get one done right away, and we thought, so we went out for 4, that, if we commit to the 3, we get a savings of $6,000. Which way do we want to go?
Yeah, I don't know anything about.
I don't know.
I don't know anything about dishwashers. I was just,
Right.
thought we had a procedure where we would publish. I had a question, again, I don't know anything about these dishwashers, but is it electric heat for the water?
Yeah.
And when do we wash the dishes? In the afternoon, after lunch?
All during lunch periods. At all schools, they're all
So,
kind of washed all day
between like
long.
11 and 1? And are there dishwasher systems that use hot water fired by gas?
I don't know.
Yeah.
The issue is on-peak demand electricity, because it affects your rates, throughout the year. Dishwashers tend to, what little I know is that they tend to be large energy users. And if we can easily find out when our on-peak demand is in the high school, it may not concur with when we're washing dishes, but if it is, then, we have an opportunity maybe for some cost savings here that we normally don't get a shot at.
All right, check for you. Certainly we could check. I think these come with electric boosters, which pump the heat up.
We have to have.
Which is fine.
A dishwasher is required to have a temperature of 120 degrees prior to it even getting to the dishwasher. Then the dishwasher booster, and I don't know of any dishwasher booster that is gas.
It's gas.
The booster then takes it up to the 180 degrees
Go the
that's
other way.
required for
Right, right.
sterilization.
Go the other way. It comes in off of some other energy source.
Right, we take the hot water off of the school tanks.
And then,
I don't know how are they gas?
Their gas.
So that's the best we're gonna do anyway.
Okay. All right, and then we wash the dishes and boost it with electric.
Right, for the rinse
Because these are 70 and 100 amp circuits, so they pull some power.
They do pull some power, but they do not run, you know,
They just have to run
24/7.
for a couple of minutes, and it sets your electric bill.
I know.
That's the problem.
Well, that's kind of
All right,
the way it is.
maybe Chuck could look at this, just.
I was
curse-
gonna,
do it.
I'll talk to him. I do know that the boosters, for example, that we're getting at high school and at South School is smaller than the one that's now. Don't forget, the ones there now, prior to 78 was when the dishwashers were installed. So we're getting a little bit newer dishwashers than what's in there now. But I will check to see what the idea is about the gas and electric use.
We should see a difference, if in nothing else, the amount of hot water that's being used. We should see some energy savings there immediately, especially at the high school, because they've got 2 wash tanks, and right now, we're using up a lot of hot water. There's not enough bubble gum that I can chew to keep that dishwasher running.
And any other questions? Other questions from the board? Steve?
I have a follow-up. So the state's come in and said that you have 2 dishwashers that don't meet probably the 180 degrees or some other
Correct.
default with them. But you're able to guarantee that the dishes are being washed in a safe manner for the students?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Until they can be repaired?
Yes.
Or until they can be replaced?
Right.
To Ben's comment and to my comment on the bids, it appears you have time to go out to a formal bid. Is that something that we can do and still proceed with using this year's funds?
Yeah.
Keep in mind, the funds that we're gonna be spending are the food service funds. They're not general fund funds, so
And to,
that's not an issue.
just to steal a line from the cable studio, and at no expense to the taxpayer.
That's correct.
Right now, one of these, let's make sure we understand, one of these dishwashers is already purchased.
Correct.
Okay, and you want to go out for bid on the other 3? That's what we're asking. Okay. So I guess consent. I know that, I'm just saying is, the potential here is to lose the savings on it. That's the potential
That
that
was
you
our
have.
dilemma.
I'll make a motion then, but I already indicated how I'd vote. I make a motion that we purchase from Perkins these 4 dishwashers for $67,810, and we expend $7,411 from the, which is a total of $75,221 from the food service funds to be collected this year.
Okay, do I have a second?
A second.
Any more discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed?
Opposed?
3-2. Okay, that was 3-2. Ben and Steve voted in the negative. Comments, let's be very clear about this. We have a policy, all future bids need to go out
Yes.
and be advertised. Okay? And we expect to get this earlier, and the next time we'll go into it.
Yes, and again, just, we talked about it, the gray area was the emergency at South School, and that's, if it wasn't for that, we would have not the bid advertised. It was, we had to get one, and now, just so everyone, the high school one just came back Monday. That puts us in a little bit of a bind, but again, we'll get by on a temporary basis like we are at South School.
Okay. Steve?
I'd just like to make a comment on that. It just, over the years here, there always seems to be a deal. And there always seems to be, we're going to do it now. And I don't think that's the way to run a $60 million company. It's just my opinion.
Okay.
If I could?
Yes.
And I agree that we need to put this out to bid. The one reason I'm comfortable with this is because I know that the one a couple weeks ago, we looked at those people internally. I'm completely comfortable that Nancy went out to her cooperative and went to 12 other districts looking for people to send those bids to. So as far as I'm concerned, that's good enough to get us through right now, because we did not do it internally to Londonderry.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much.
Great, thank you.
Thanks, Nancy.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for the cookies. You can come back anytime.
Mark, you want to, yes,
On the food service program,
yes,
when I was last on the board, we voted for an increase in the fees
yes,
because the financial integrity of the food service program was in peril.
that's correct.
Now, it appears to be doing quite well.
Right.
You know, I hadn't followed it, obviously, for the intervening 3 years, but do we need to consider, you know, maybe rolling lunches back a little bit to balance it out? Or do we have other capital needs that are going to require?
I believe there's, in here, there's the
There is.
capital needs that they have for the replacement of equipment in there. It's something we may want to discuss. We had I think the biggest reason for the profit margin is going from 38% up to 54% usage.
And by doing that, obviously, the cost per meal has dropped dramatically. Our intent was, on a previous report, was to keep the pricing level, and we thought we could keep it level for at least 3 more years.
Right.
And purchase the necessary equipment, to get the necessary equipment up to date, and then allow the cost of food and the cost of salaries to kind of easily begin to erode the savings, keeping the lunch prices at the same for the next 3 or 4 years.
Well, maybe we could do maybe a 3 or 4 year projection based on these kinds of returns from the food service program.
We had that, but we can update it and come back later on.
It may
That would be
warrant
good.
a nickel cut or something.
And the other item would be is now that we've taken the 2009 and 2010 purchases out,
right,
we wouldn't put other stuff in there now, since we've expended that money.
I know.
Okay.
Easily we'll have a couple $100,000 in the fund at this rate,
Yes.
so.
No, that's a good point, Ben.
If we stop getting cookies at the meeting, I'm holding Ben accountable.
You can still do it, you'll just have to buy them.
A nickel.
So, Nate, can you put that on an agenda for the, one of the June meetings?
Cookie holdback? Yes, I have it.
There'll be no holdback.
Yeah, food service projections, right?
That's correct.
And you want it for June?
Yes.
Okay.
That'll give you enough time to work on it? Excellent. Okay. Mark?
Okay. I'm pleased to bring tonight to the school board an initiative that the board had requested last fall. You'll find tonight in your packet a brochure, draft brochure of our summer enrichment programs that a number of our teachers participated in bringing proposals to us, K through 12. This is open to all levels, K-12. The purpose of this self-supported program is to promote student strengths in academic areas of reading, writing, mathematics, science, and/or other electives, and to expose students to new areas of interest not typically found during the regular school year. The offerings promise interest to any student at any level. Some offerings that you can see in the brochure, the elementary level will include the Teddy Bear Club for primary students on teddy bear literature, writing, games, and crafts. At intermediate grades, students have an appreciation in theater, may wish to test their talents in Somewhere Off Broadway. To keep active middle school students engaged, orienteering, soda bottle rockets, scrapbooking, drama, piano, writers' camps, and many more programs will be offered. For high school students interested in extending their knowledge through exploration, summer enrichments are as varied as the offerings. Students who wish to explore the world of nature and nature writing at Odiorn Point State Park and Squam Lakes Natural Science Center may wish to sign up for Tracking Thoreau. For those students with an interest in hands-on science and experimentation may like to take biotechnology to work with various tools and technologies in Londonderry High School's biotechnology laboratory. Summer enrichments will be held mornings at various times and dates in the schools throughout the district from July 9th to August 3rd. Specific information about offerings, fees, and registration will be sent home at the elementary levels. They'll be mailed home to middle school and high school students. Parents may also pick up materials at any school office throughout the district, the town library, or may go online at schools.londonderry.org. Registration fees will be collected at the district office through June 1st, and enrollment is limited by enrichment. Are there any questions?
Questions from the board? Mark, I think this is fantastic to offer to the children enrichment programs like this over the summer.
Thank you, sir.
Really impressed with the biotechnology one for grades 10 through 12. And that looks really exciting, and thank you very much for putting this together.
Thank you, Ron. Sorry, but could you define enrollment is limited by enrichment?
Enrollment
The public.
is what I mean by that. If you look in the brochure, we have a minimum and maximum enrollment numbers, and that's how we determined our fees for each of the program offerings. So.
And the numbers are dictated by the course itself.
And it's
the numbers-
dictated by the enrichment itself. So, my thanks too goes to Deb Dolan for putting together this brochure. This was not my talents that put this together. She certainly did a nice job in putting this together for you tonight.
I want to mention, Mark put together a very nice process. People basically submitted proposals for the enrichment, and then Mark and several other people went through it, vetted the enrichment, went back if they had questions to the people who had put in the proposals, and the final result is what you see here. And so I think they did a fine job, and Mark did a fine job. He really did.
Dan?
Mark, let's look at the offerings for the high school for a minute. There's 3, right?
There's currently, as you see in the brochure, there is biotechnology, competitive running, as well as tracking Thoreau.
Right.
And then there is also a book club discussion that's above that.
All excellent choices. What, is it first come, first served? Because
It is
looks
first
like
come,
the-
first served basis.
It looks like the minimum and maximum enrollments are the same.
For some of them, we had to do that just to keep the costs reasonable for parents that are interested in enrolling their students.
Okay.
Any other questions from the board?
Thank you.
Questions from the audience? Thank you, Mark. Seeing none, may have a motion to go into non-public session under RSA 91A3, Section 2, A through I.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Aye, Dan Buchanan.
George Herman. We are in executive session, and if you're in this room, you're on the air. Excellent.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome. I was going to ask you if you got it. I did.
Ben? On the policy committee, you and I are on.